Police released this video where you can see the group surround the 52-year-old driver, beating him. He eventually fell backwards, hitting his head. He died.
Hey guys, welcome to Advanced Security. This is Security Guard Nudes, it's your boy, Passionate Security Guard. Today we're gonna highlight the death of a taxi driver. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's some valuable information as security guards that we can extract from this real life situation.
Today, the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers gathered to show support for one of their own. The union is now offering a $15,000 reward for the arrest of the people responsible for the death of the 52-year-old taxi driver. A man they say worked restlessly, especially during the height of the pandemic.
This gentleman drove his cab. He never stopped taking passengers. This, to me, is a hero like a first responder. If a doctor, a nurse, someone, a family member needed to get somewhere, he was driving the cab. He never stopped.
I think that's very important to understand. Taxi drivers are more than just taxi drivers. One of their many functions is safety. You know, what separates security from a lot of different jobs is that security, what we do is in the name. That's our number one function. It's not our supporting role. Security is not the supporting role when your job is security. That's your number one function. You might do other things within your post depending on your contract, but numero uno is safety. Taxi drivers are a type of security, the way I envision them. Check this out. They offer a safety transportation service. Think about this for a moment. You get on the bus, you get on a train. You're surrounded by all sorts of people. All sorts of people that can land on all sorts of statistics. And they could do all kinds of things. Therefore, your threat level has kind of increased, hasn't it? It's a lot of random variables. You go into a taxi, it's just you, the driver, and whoever's there with you, that's accompanying you, right? That driver has been vetted, has been trained, and somebody believes them enough to pay them to the point where, like, I think this person could provide the services we're offering to the public. Right? That is the benefit you get from taxi drivers. During 2020, they kept working while other responders were in their house. While other people in other fields were in their home chillaxing, still getting a paycheck. And I'm talking about NYPD because they let me down big time in my neighborhood.
Taxi drivers took a stand for justice after one of their own was killed while dropping off passengers in Queens. At a rally today, they urged the suspects to turn themselves in, and they offered support for the dead driver's grieving wife and 4 children. Eyewitness News reporter Johnny Fernandez has the story from Woodside.
Surrounded by loved ones and taxi drivers, tearful and heartbroken, Kutin Gyimah spoke out about her husband, 52-year-old Kutin Gyimah.
I have no words to describe him. He was a good man. He was a good man.
Police say the 52-year-old taxi driver, a father of 4, let 5 passengers out near Beach 54th Street in Queens on Saturday morning. The fare beaters tried to leave without paying, then attacked and tried to rob him. Police say the 52-year-old chased after them. Moments later, he was struck by the suspects, fell, struck his head, and died.
Probably was the first fare of his day.
Alright, so I want to talk about 4 particular things at this moment. It's important that, you know, we bash into the heads of security and our clients the following. Number 1, chasing after somebody is risky. Chasing after a person is very risky. So we want to make sure that if it has to happen, there are certain parameters, certain training, certain procedures that security is trained in and that the clients and employees around them is aware of, right? We want to avoid unnecessary violence and unnecessary casualties. You know, if a security chases somebody away from a club, a certain property, and and they're still chasing them, you know, that security personnel could get in a lot of trouble, and then they no longer have the safety, the limited safety that they already have from their clients and their employer, depending on their situation. So that's number one. Number two, do your best to not fight for property, fight for your life. Again, fight for your life, not for property. That means money, guys. That means jewelry. You know, you have to put yourself above all those material possessions, because most of that stuff, first of all, is insured. All right, and can be replaced. Those things have no feelings. Your family does, and you do. So that's number two. Number three, hand-to-hand contact can be deadly. Boxing can be deadly. Boxers die in the ring. All right, guys? Like, you cannot think, oh, if anything, I just got some karate, some boxing, and I'll be fine. No. If you get hit the wrong way, it's more than just lights out. Your heart could stop. You could get, problems with your brain. And that's just before you fall down to the ground. This driver, after getting rocked, his head hits the ground, then passes away in the hospital. Number four, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to confronting people, when it comes to chasing people, whatever it is, if it's one-on-one, you might have a chance to get the desired results. When it's 4 people or 5 people, you're outnumbered heavily. So you got to pick your battles.
It was probably the first person that he picked up. And guess what? It was the last person that he picked up. Because his life was taken away. For what? For money?
So I really see taxi drivers as a much needed service and a type of security, because, again, they are providing a safety transportation service for people. When your grandma needs to go from one place to another, you get an Uber, right? And if you can't drive them, you got out of a date, you had some drinks, you put your friend or your date in that vehicle, you have a receipt saying this vehicle took this person to X, and it was this driver at this time, right? That's a type of safety service. Guys, taxi drivers deserve our respect. They deserve our help, And I need to highlight this because everything I said does relate also to security. I want to say one more thing. The service industry within our fabulous first world country is under threat and is constantly being disrespected. You got cashiers getting beat up and killed, right? To the point, they have to put knives in the cash register or a firearm, right? Because people are climbing over the shits, right? And then they have to defend themselves. And then they go to prison for defending themselves, right? You have nurses in hospitals getting beat up. You have constantly people providing a face-to-face service getting disrespected, getting mocked, getting pushed around, right? To the extreme, to the point where they're even getting hit. People are putting their hands on them. We need to acknowledge what's going on at security. If you have a security company, it's one of the best times to get clients because of situations like this, right? Retail employees are getting their ass kicked all the time, right? If you're new to security, leave. Right now, security is only for the people who have experience. That's it. This stuff is so hot right now. It's only for veterans, people that have been in the game before COVID. Because right now, the threat level for security or for people in the service industry in general is not low anymore. It's like 2 notches above that. I'm not saying they got to be paranoid or anything, but this is just my truth. This is what I've seen. This is what I've gathered. As far as information, everybody needs to have some type of security now in almost any location that is open to the public. From movie theaters to concerts, to schools, to bodegas, supermarkets, restaurants, anywhere. We need security everywhere more now than ever. All right, guys, that's it. That's that. If you found value in this video, press like. Leave a comment down below saying thank you. Gracias. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And Yo, thank you so much for those of you that are part of the tribe here on YouTube. I'm gonna be starting a PayPal for the channel. One of the things that stopped me from creating content constantly is that I do everything from my cell phone, which is becoming an issue more and more every day. So I need to buy a webcam and an external hard drive. So once you see the donation button for PayPal on my channel, if you got it, great. If you don't, I'll settle for the light. So that's it. Take care of yourself. So, ciao. Lo quiero mucho.